Libra, this is your week ahead astrology forecast from Astrology Motivation by Born Without Boundaries. Welcome everybody. Libras, this is it's an in-depth astrology reading for the next week. So we're going to go from April 25th through May 1st. And what we're going to do in this video is go over the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal suns from or between April 25th to May 1st. So I don't know where your natal suns are. I'm depending on you knowing where they are. I know they are in Libra, but because astrology is based on geometry and essentially angles, the way one planet reacts to one of your natal suns is not going to be the way it reacts to all of your natal suns. So what we do as astrologers is we dice up Libra into 3 decans. A decan is a group of 10 degrees. If your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees, you are in decan 1 or you're Libra 1. If your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees, you are Libra 2 or because your natal sun is in decan 2. And if your natal sun is between between 20 and 29 degrees, then you are Libra 3 because your natal sun is in decan 3. Now, how do you know where your natal sun is? What I'm going to do is give you estimates of the dates about about the dates that would correlate with the decans. But the dates are not always accurate because the dates they change every single year. So what I would suggest that you do is go get your natal chart if you don't have it already. You can get your natal chart by just basically searching it online. Free natal chart. It's free. It's easy to do. You'll need your birth date, which you already have because you know that you're a Libra. And then you'll need your birth time and your birthplace, both of which are on your birth certificate. And then you just pop that information in and they'll spit it right back out to you. And it'll be really easy for you to see which degree your natal sun sits on. The reason it's important is because there's a total of 30 degrees in each zodiac sign. And because aspects are basically drawn up within aspects are specific angles. That's what they are. They're specific measurements of angles. And the energy from that aspect is going to become activated or alive or at least felt somehow if it's within 10 degrees of that specific angle. So these decans are groups of 10 degrees, right? And from one to the other, there's 10 degrees difference. So from the beginning to the end, there's 30 degrees difference. And this makes a huge impact on the energy from the other planet and how it's relating to your natal sun. And that's why it's so important to really know that not all Libras are going to be experiencing the current astrology the same way. We're going to start with really broad stuff, those stuff that's going to impact everybody. And then we're just coming out of a really big week where there was a new moon and a solar eclipse and Mercury went to retrograde and the sun went into another sign, Taurus. So now we're kind of easing out a little bit. This is sort of like the flow period after the big tidal wave came in. But there is some stuff going on. So the biggest thing I saw, and I thought that was really interesting, was May 1st. And it drew my attention because immediately I saw, looking at the charts, 11/11. I was like, what? Now, I'm not a numerologist, so I can't get really deep into why it drew my eye, but it drew my eye and I was like, 11/11, what's that? It is the degree at which the Sun and Mercury retrograde will conjunct in Taurus, because that's what happens this week. The Sun conjuncts Mercury retrograde, and that happens on May 1st. So at the very end of this week, that's when it happens. Also on May 1st, I thought it was really interesting that Venus, which is your ruling dignitary, becomes sextile to Jupiter. That's really beautiful energy for some of you more than others, and we're going to get into that. Now, what is Venus doing this whole week? You should always really keep an eye, Libra, on what Venus is doing, because she is your ruling dignitary, and where she is and who she's interacting with will inevitably also impact you as well. She is moving between 16, happy birthday, Doug Denny, 16 and 23 degrees Gemini. So she is still in Gemini. And then most of this week, or up until the 27th, she is going to be sextile to Chiron. And then by the end of the week, that will break and she will be sextile to Jupiter. And we'll talk about the difference between those, what they mean. Most of this week, she is semi-square to the North Node, which means there's kind of some stubbornness when it comes to moving forward. It is not something that can't be overcome, but there is a little bit of stubbornness when it comes to life direction. I don't know where the stubbornness is coming from. The North Node is in Taurus, so it could just be that it's having a hard time kind of accepting almost traditional value systems. There's a sense of maybe we threw the baby out with the bathwater and we changed too much. Maybe some traditional value systems actually have to come back. That could be, I don't know. That's kind of broad and political, so I don't want to go too into that. But it's just a little bit of frustration when it comes to you personally, a little bit of frustrating energy when it comes to moving towards your future. It is not going to hold you back for long. It's just going to be there's some frustration there this week. So something holding you back. Mercury is in retrograde. It could very much have to do with not getting paperwork in time, technology fritzing out on you. It's just a little bit of a tug in the wrong direction. Nothing you can't overcome though. Jupiter sextile to Venus sextile to Chiron, which is an aspect that is impacting Venus until the 27th of this week. This is an inspiration really to heal and to find beauty in the areas of life that have before this been linked to pain and suffering. So it's an opportunity to turn that pain and suffering into something beautiful, into something that you love and feel feel good about. It's not about being attractive. It's about seeing optimistically. There's an optimism about the shit you've been through and what opportunities it's actually started to create. And there may be some financial opportunities or aesthetic opportunities that end up coming from an old injury, since Chiron is already in Aries, or something that has been getting you down and challenging you for a while, especially with your body, to be able to change it or see a breakthrough in it, or that there's been some forward motion when it comes to healing. All of that is possible for Venus sextile to Chiron. Also an opportunity to heal how you feel about the way you look, right? It's not about vanity. It is about looking in the mirror and being happy with who you are and being able to see the beauty in your scars. So think of it that way. This is a really healing energy, I feel. And then by the end of this week, on May 1st, Venus is sextile to Jupiter. Aside from Jupiter sextile the sun, this is one of the most beautiful and optimistic aspects in astrology. So Venus sextile to Jupiter is just almost like la vie en rose. It's a sense of a natural high. There's just optimism all around and seeing possibility in every situation, seeing the beauty in every situation, growing and expanding because you're seeing beauty around you at all times, everywhere. Now, this could be an indirect result from Venus going through the sextile with Chiron. Finding the beauty in the ugly or the scarred then helps you turn around and see beauty everywhere. So over the next 2 weeks, this is a very healing and optimistic energy that is going to be impacting you guys, and maybe even in some ways opening up other doors for you. Let's go into the decans, shall we? Let's see how this energy is impacting each of your natal suns. If you are in decan 1, you are a Libra that was born probably a September Libra, right? If you were born at the end, a Libra born at the end of September, you are there's a big chance you're a Libra 1. Let's just put it that way. Definitely if you are a Libra Virgo cusp, you are a Libra 1. And if you are a Libra 1, if you are at the cusp of Virgo, your natal sun is conjunct to Neptune. That's a very creative energy, but it's also easily distractible. So if you can learn to just focus yourself and allow your dreams to lead you into creative mode, this is a long-term aspect that can actually be very beneficial for you as long as you don't get distracted by it. You do tend to be a little bit more open-hearted than normal, more easily fooled, I should say, but it's not as bad as an opposition. All in all, I think mostly a creative energy. Let yourself create. Trust it. Trust your instincts and trust your psychic energy when the sun is conjunct Neptune, because there's a whole group of senses that we usually don't have access to, or that many of us don't have access to. And when your sun is conjunct Neptune, you will. This is a really psychic and spiritual time for you. Maybe finding where your true faith is and what your true set of beliefs are. And this is long term, over the next few years. So there's just not, you'll be there's nothing that really is gonna, you have time, is what I'm saying. Another long-term aspect that's impacting your natal sun is the trine to Pluto. Pluto is in 0 degrees Aquarius. If you are at the cusp, you have already been trine to Pluto. So there is this energy of change that it's like you needed the change in order to balance yourself out, and you're starting to experience that change in your life. It may be difficult, but it kind of makes you feel good in the process. There's a catharsis here and a healing energy to that as well. For the next year, your natal suns are quincunx to Saturn, so it can just have some frustrating energy when it comes to authority or laws, rules, regulations, just trying to get to the end of contracts, pay up those debts. It's like they're dragging your ass back. It's not like you can't handle it. You will be able to handle it, but it will frustrate you for the next year. And that's it. Why did I write both of these? Hold on a second. Yeah, that's not right. Okay, Libra 2s. You guys have an interesting week this week. Your long-term aspect is in opposition. Your natal suns are opposite Chiron. That's a really difficult aspect to have because it challenges how you feel about who you are, your value, and your self-worth. And so if you feel like you're going through like a dark night of the soul, where you don't even know yourself, it's because your natal suns right now are in opposition to Chiron. It has been like that for a while, so this must be a very trying year. And you're not necessarily prone to make really great decisions. It's been over a year, last 2 years at least. You're not really prone to make great decisions when your natal sun is in opposition to Chiron, because your sense of self-esteem is compromised. So ultimately, it's best if you have people around you who love you a lot. If they're telling you, this really isn't good for you, we want better for you, we don't, not that they expect more, but if they think you deserve to be treated better, listen to them, because at this point, and for the next year, your sense of self is compromised, your sense of self-esteem is compromised, and so you would be willing to accept more happening to you than you should probably allow. Just an FYI. Why does it do that? So you can learn to love yourself better, but it's going to be hard times and you're going to be put through the ringer to learn it. Just an FYI. This week, that's a long-term aspect. That's been impacting you for a while. This week, trine to Venus. So that's a beautiful supportive energy, happiness and harmony when it comes to how you feel about who you are and how you feel about your love life or what you deserve. That's really No, it's not really contradictory. It's going to happen to you this week. It's more like a relief a little bit, even though the Chiron thing has been challenging you for a while. I think this trine to Venus might actually help you realize that you deserve better. It may make you start to listen to people who really love you this week instead of the people who you want to love you, or you feel like you have to make them love you in order to be valuable at all. No, there is a sense of trining that Venus, a sense of knowing your self-worth this week that will actually help to sort of get you out of the self-suffering kind of mentality that you didn't even realize that you were in when it came to Chiron, always chasing after maybe things that are bad for you. to try to prove your worth. This is not it, Libra 2s. This week is about trining Venus, is about realizing your self-worth and feeling good about who you are. It is a great week to do your hair, change a style to your clothes. It is a great week to go on dates, or because you just be more in harmony with your own personal beauty, and people can be very attracted to you this week as well. But then you also have a square to Mars. So Mars is in Cancer, so it's very sensitive. So it could be that things are getting on your nerves very easily. Also a sense of really being combative with maybe even the opposite sex. So it's not maybe the best time to go on dates if you're attracted to males especially. But it could just be, Venus is in Gemini, so this could be a sense of your friends are really helping to stabilize you and make you feel one with yourself again. I think friendship will help you find a way back to loving yourself this week. Whereas with Mars, when it comes to if you're dating males or dealing with anybody who's overly aggressive or even really taking action, this could just be a very frustrating time for you. You may not know what action to take. You may be frustrated about the way that your family has been behaving to you. All of these things toward you, all of these things may be coming up this week. It won't last beyond this week, but I think your best bet is to stick to your friends and feel good about who you are through their eyes. This trine will last until the 28th. So, yeah, up until that time, enjoy that and appreciate the healing it can give you. And then we have Libra 3s. This week, your natal suns are in opposition to Jupiter. That means that your head could be a little bit bigger than you'd like it to be, and that you're mistaking confidence for arrogance, or that you're expecting more than you should out of any situation, or that there's just a sense of, I want to grow too fast, I want to move too fast. You feel pushed to move too fast, or that you desire to move too fast and expand and grow, but you may not necessarily be ready for it. Just an FYI, you're by the 27th of this week, your natal suns will be trine to Venus. Venus is actually a really beautiful energy, and while the second decans are just finishing up at that time, you will start to feel the tranquility and happiness and self-esteem that this energy tends to give to you, especially, like I said, for them through friendships, because Venus is in Gemini right now. It could also be through learning and education, finding again that sense of self-love and appreciation for who you are. A long-term aspect is your square to Pluto. So Libra 3s, this is a dynamic energy that will not quit. It is a dynamic energy that will insist on change, even if it is tough. It will not give up. It will absolutely be insistent, and people will feel that insistence in you and could be very intimidated or turn you away because of the level of intensity that you have, because they'll know that you're all about that. You don't care if things get wrecked. You just want to move forward. So it's something to be aware of. It's not something to be scared of, but it's something to be aware of, just an FYI, because that's a long-term energy. And then of course we have your conjunction to the South Node if you are a Libra 3 cusp. So if you are on the cusp of Scorpio, your suns are conjunct the South Node. This is about accepting your experiences from the past and accepting the talents that you have, and really starting to realize that the things that you may overlook just because they're so natural to you are actually your greatest tools for moving into the future. So think about that, because it may help you deal a little bit with that pesky North Node, which you are naturally in opposition to. That's going to get even more intense as the nodes move, because the South Node's about to move into Libra in July, and the North Node will move into Aries. So this will be even more intense. Having the South Node with you is actually really nice. It's sort of like a finishing up, a feeling good about yourself, a feeling of I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable with where I've been. I'm comfortable with what I learned where I was. And now with that comfort, I can sort of start to see myself moving forward with that toolkit of gifts, talents, and skills. So it's actually a really nice energy. Whereas on the other side, poor Aries, they're getting the opposite, which is the North Node, and everybody blaming them for everything, ripping them apart for everything, and basically having to face their discomfort zones. So let's see where the next couple of months take us with that. Please do leave your comments below. You know I love to know. And definitely join me over on Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. Don't forget to subscribe before you click off. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.